our next panel discussion, which is the sectoral view of digital governance, part two. And I have the pleasure of inviting Mr. Bhushan Mohan back onto the stage to moderate this discussion. Our panelists today include Dr. Kajal, who is Director of Local Bodies from Uttar Pradesh, Mr. Pramod P., Director of Department of Factories and Boilers, Kerala, Mr. Pala Raju, who is DIG, Andhra Pradesh Police Department, Mr. J. N. Panchal, Deputy Superintendent of Police from Bhuj, and Ms. Ritu Sarangan, Deputy Superintendent of Police Training from Thiruvarur District Police. And from Scotch Development Foundation Senior Fellow, Mr. Subodh Shukla, and former DDG NIC. We have with us Mr. Nilmar Bansal, Senior Fellow, Scotch Development Foundation and former banker. We're also joined by Mr. R.K. Gupta, Senior Fellow, Scotch Development Foundation and former advisor, Niti Aayog. With this, I hand the mic over to Mr. Bhushan Mohan. You are muted, Bhushanji.
Good afternoon, all of you. It's my privilege to manage this session. Scotch has been doing an excellent job in encouraging best practices and encouraging the lot of initiatives which are taken to improve on the governance in various areas. Now, typically, all these improvements get initiated through a vision and a mission that we want to do something, and is implemented by the local champions on the field who implement these projects right from the ground level. So the implementation from the ground level is extremely, extremely important to bring about the digital transformation, or rather the transformation through the digital means or through technology or through an innovative thinking. So that is what is the most important thing, where the digital innovation comes about. As we go forward, in each of these things, there are certain things which are extremely important. One of the most important thing is, when we take up an initiative, how do we measure the benefits which are passed on to the end user? Once we know how to measure those benefits, we can always look back and see what is the impact of our initiative. And once we know the impact, we know how to improve upon it. So the challenge in front of us is, we have taken the initiatives. What are we going to do over the next few years? How are we going to exploit the technology in a much better way to get the better benefits for the end user? So let us start off. We have a whole list of presentations and discussions today in this particular session. So let us start off with Dr. Kajal, Director, Local Bodies, UP. May I invite you, Dr. Kajal?
Good afternoon. How are you? Yes. So, can you tell me, what do you want me to say? Like, you want this question to be answered in the presentation?
What your initiative has been, how did you go about it? What are the learnings? How you are going to improve upon it? And what are the future plans for that?
Okay, thank you for your question. So I hope I'm audible, right?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, so we have submitted on my directorate, we have two projects on e-governance. One is like creating an e-office electronic document management system, and another one is a direct benefit transfer to the marginalized populations. and during this COVID lockdown. So I'll take it up one by one. So regarding this electronic document management system, as we all understand, this COVID has shown us the need for utilizing technology and making our system more accountable and transparent. And it really, gave us the time period where we could pause for a minute and realize what are the problems that people face because of the old manual system of filing that we had been pursuing for so long. And there were so many problems associated with it. Number one, definitely the work gets delayed, and a lot of people have to suffer because of their, for example, their pensions not getting sanctioned in time, or they are approaching for different problems. And similarly, I would say that it's a system wide approach where you see not only from the perspective of employees, but how your service delivery is affecting, millions of population. So by making this small change and bringing this electronic management system, we have tried to improve our system, bringing more transparency, accountability. Now, later steps would be to connect it both on the sides of the ULB and also to the secretariat, so that, this whole system becomes foolproof. And right now it's a standalone system, but in the future we are trying to, integrate it with the secretariat as well as with the ULB, so that the system becomes more responsive and the service delivery becomes efficient. Regarding the second project, which is about providing direct benefit transfer, as we all know that when this COVID lockdown happened, the real challenge was with the marginalized populations, and we identified people working as street vendors, working as rickshaw pullers or construction workers, or any such things where their livelihood were affected because of the lockdown. And we reached out to them and created this Aadhaar enabled database, where we have reached out to almost 9 lakh people in the state of UP, and created this database which can be utilized in the next time, for any next challenges that we will face anytime in the future. So I believe that is something that has helped us creating this informal sectors database, which was missing for quite some time in our state. And this will be really helpful in channelizing various services or various benefits, various schemes that government really wants to make them avail, and to actually reach out to the people who are needy. So these are the two things that we have done, and in the future we hope to utilize this whole system to make our system, the schemes and the benefits much more transparent and available to them very quickly and in a very faster way. Thank you so much.
Yeah, excellent. I think this has been an excellent initiative, especially really collecting the data of the informal sector and the people who are there. I think this is highly, highly innovative. We really appreciate this particular thing. And regarding your e-office is concerned, I think you should have a future roadmap of how to use the cloud technologies and other things, so that instead of being a departmental one, you can expand it into a much bigger thing, or rather it could be for the complete setup. It should be throughout the state, and various state departments should become an integral part of this. I think it's an excellent effort you have taken. Let me go to the next one, Mr. Pramod P, Department of Factories.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible, very much audible.
So good afternoon, madam. Good afternoon, sir. So as a person from the government sector, I can proudly say that the influence of digital technologies in various aspects of life has brought about a significant shift in the service delivery system of government to citizens. It has become one of the most powerful tools in ensuring the delivery of services to citizens without the boundaries of location and time, and equal opportunities without discrimination. Digital governance is capable of reaching a larger sections of population through the minimum infrastructure like office complexes, transport facilities, etc. So apart from this, the scope of transparent service delivery coupled with the responsibility and accountability makes the digital governance the way ahead for citizen-oriented government service delivery. However, implementing a robust, accessible, and service-oriented government service delivery digital platform is a challenging task. So government departments are used to a style functioning over these years, and most of the rules and regulations are in line with this system of functioning, and changing them would put in motion a lot of associated modification requirements. In private sector, the working procedure can be easily modified for adoption of the better technologies. Further, the resistance to change would be so high that innovative methods would have to be implemented to ensure a smooth transition. The interface of the current system, supported by a large number of forms, standard formats, which are supported by rules and regulations, cannot be changed, as they would lead to further legal complications. Hence, re-engineering the business process becomes a time-consuming issue, as it would also require amendments to existing rules and regulations. Another aspect to be taken care of the government service delivery is the interaction between the departments. This would require any digital platform to be able to communicate with others in a heterogeneous system, which involves additional requirements while developing a software. It is quite difficult to government departments to keep pace with the rapid change in technology, considering the turnout time and the restrictions in resources available for project implementation. It also requires that all offices of the department are brought under the same umbrella for effective implementation of the projects, as data capturing is an important aspect for system to function effectively. So this is the fourth time the Department of Factories and Boilers, Government of Kerala is receiving the award, and we got award in the year 2016, 17, 2019, now in 2020. So this is this project is web-enabled risk-weighted inspection scheme. So actually, all offices are inspectors. They are provided with tablets, so they can prepare inspection reports like FIR and all these things, and they can issue inspection orders. They can issue notices to the factory management, and the selection of the factories are based on the risk only, because you know there are high risk factories are there, medium risk factories are there, low risk factories are so giving priority to the high risk factories. The selection will be, the system will select factories based on the risk category, and the inspectors has to accordingly, inspector has to go to the that concerned particular factory, and they have to prepare the report, and they can download all these reports, and if they want to file prosecution before the court, they can download all the report, and they can put it aside, and they can file in court also. So this is very for the past 2 years we are running it very successfully, and we all know that there are 4 major pillars in the e-governance, that is G2B, G2C, G2G, and G2E. That is government to business. Actually, the Department of Factories and Boilers is mainly concentrating on the business people in manufacturing sector. So we have provided everything, all services like license, permit for construction of factory, everything online. And the second one is G2C, that is government to citizen. So actually our major stakeholders are workers. So they can file complaints, they can ask some queries, and they can ask accidents can be reported. All these things can be done in the G2C phase and the G2G phase. So that is government to government. So actually our license can be tracked by Labor Bureau, like central government institutions, central government agencies. Even bank can assess our license with a number, whether it is a valid license or not. And last one is government to employ. So this web-enabled risk-weighted inspection scheme comes under that category, the government to employ. So actually we are we already started the e-office in this department, and within 1 year, I can promise that our department will become a paperless department in the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think you have an excellent initiative which you have taken, and it's really benefited the manufacturing sector, which is there in timely inspection. I have a couple of questions for you. Number one, since you are using these tablets and other thing, and you are using a public data network on the internet, through the internet, you are using a lot of data is getting exchanged. What is your future uh, outlook on the security aspect? Because security is becoming more and more important. So I think that is one thing which you have to work out. We had some very interesting discussions earlier today. So security is an important aspect. And do you have any plans to use artificial technology or data analytics for your future work?
Yes, sir. Actually, regarding the first question, security aspect, actually, for the past 5 years, this software is running very successfully, and 2-3 times we got cyber attacks. So after that, or we have done the security audit, and for the past 1 year, I can say that there is no cyber attacks or nothing has happened in our website, and periodically, and after this, when the security audit period is over, again we will do it audit. Whenever there is any new additions, where any changes in the software is there, immediately we will do the security audit, and after that only we will put into open to the public. So that is the first one. Second one is regarding the Nobel project. Another one we are coming up is ROSES, that is remote sensing enabled online chemical emergency response system. So that is, I think this is first time in India itself. This project is actually with the support of ISRO and Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Radiation. So I am in nutshell, I can say that whenever there is a toxic gas release or fire happens in a factory, immediately the nearby inhabitants, they will get an alert in the mobile that much of chlorine or something has released. So you have to do the following precautions. Either they have to escape from that particular site, or particular if they are in home, what they have to do. So this is very immediate, because within the factory inside they can control it. But whenever it comes out of the building, or the boundary of the factory, so it can damage the people, it can affect the people, it can damage the property and all these things. So based on this, this is on the initial stage, and I can within 1 year we will complete it, and this will be very useful for particularly in major cities where hazardous factories are located, because nowadays we have experienced a lot of gas leakages, and like happened in Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh also. So I think this project, this is ROSES project, will definitely help the people, so they will get alert, and they can escape from the site, or they can take some precautions based on that. This is the new project that we are coming up with.
Excellent. I think that's really nice. I will go next to Mr. T. Balasubramanian, IG registration.
Good afternoon, sir. Hello.
Yes.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible.
Actually, Mr. Balasubramanian, sir, due to some urgent issues, he cannot attend this meeting.
Okay.
So on behalf of him, I Anup Kumar Mandal is here. Actually, our project is e-appointment and e-registration. It is a part of our registration system called Unathikaran, which is a centralized web-based registration system. When the COVID outbreak, after outbreak of COVID, all the registration offices in the state were closed. Not only in our state, in all states. But registration is a very important service to the public, the citizen, the government giving the public a very important service, because registration, the public come to registry office even once in a lifetime. He is investing his whole money in a single transaction. So it is a very important event to him, and stoppage of registration work, it creates worry to them. So after the outbreak of COVID, we are thinking how to start registration so that people don't become worry. So then we started thinking, and after that we introduced first e-deed, electronic deed, no physical deed. Deed will be generated in the system. They will be able to type it, they will be able to copy it, everything it is possible. And after preparation of e-deed, they can verify it, they can verify it from the registering officer itself online. They can submit it to them. Registering officer give their comments, and if any rectification required, they do their rectification and everything. After that, they can sign it. So for signing, we introduced other ways, e-sign first before submission. Then they can make payment online. So there is no requirement of visiting place to place for getting the deed signed by several persons. There is no need to go to some places for making payments. Everything were online. They only once they have to come to office after submission. There is a process of admission of execution. That is the single visit they required, because it is a bindings of the act. We cannot we cannot go beyond that. That's why that one visit is kept. Otherwise, everything is online.
I think that's an excellent initiative, which you have an excellent facility that you have given it to the citizens for registration. I hope this is replicated at the other places also, and you continue in the non-COVID times too. And as you go along,
Yes, sir.
improve upon the newer technologies to give a higher level of services to the citizens.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me go next to, I don't know, Dr. Ratan Kelkar. Is he there?
No, he isn't there.
Ratan Kelkar. Mr. Pala Raju from AP Police Department.
We have Mr. Palaraju joining in a few moments. We can invite the next speaker in the meanwhile.
Okay. Mr. J.N. Panchal, DSP Police, Bhuj Division, Gujarat. He was there.
We can invite the next speaker.
Next is Mrs. Ritu Sarangan, DSP.
We have Mr. Panchal.
Mr. Panchal is there?
Yeah. Mr. Panchal, can you hear?
Mr. Panchal?
Okay, we can move on.
I can see Mr. Panchal. Mr. Panchal, can you hear us? You are muted. You are muted. Just unmute yourself.
Yeah. I'm audible?
Yes, you are audible now.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. सर लॉकडाउन में हमने जो अच्छा काम किया है सर, और आप लोगों ने अप्रिशिएट करके सेमीफाइनल में और फाइनल राउंड में सिलेक्ट किया, उस बदल आप सबका धन्यवाद सर। सर मैं गुजरात के सबसे बड़े डिस्ट्रिक्ट कच्छ में भुज डिवीजन में डीवाईएसपी एज अ डीवाईएसपी ड्यूटी करता हूँ सर। मेरे अंडर में 10 पुलिस स्टेशन है सर, और मेरे डिस्ट्रिक्ट का 90% क्राइम भुज डिवीजन का है सर। जब से लॉकडाउन में जो फर्स्ट लॉकडाउन और जनता कर्फ्यू स्टार्ट हुआ था सर, सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज, सबसे बड़ा डिस्ट्रिक्ट होने के कारण, और यहाँ पर मेजोरिटी जो पॉपुलेशन है वो माइग्रेट होकर मुंबई से और दूसरे डिस्ट्रिक्ट से आते हैं सर यहाँ पर। तो सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज हमारे लिए कि बाहर से जो भी पर्सन यहाँ पर आता है उसको प्रिवेंट करना था सर। तो हमने चेक पोस्ट, हमारी जो भी अच्छी चेक पोस्ट है वो वहाँ पर पुलिस फोर्स लगाया था सर। और पूरा लॉकडाउन में, फर्स्ट लॉकडाउन से लेकर हमने जितने भी लॉकडाउन सर, 4 लॉकडाउन और 6 अनलॉक है, उसमें काम किया है सर। उसका कोविड-19 प्रिवेंट करने के लिए हम लोगों ने सर सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट और कलेक्टर साहब का जो नोटिफिकेशन किया है सर, उसमें 6291 हमने नोटिफिकेशन वायोलेशन के केस किए थे सर। क्योंकि अगर वो केस नहीं करते सर तो उसका इम्पैक्ट नहीं आता सर। हमने जो फिजूल के जो भी व्हीकल लेकर निकलते थे सर, आम लोग जो भी है, जो काम विदाउट एनी वर्क वहां पर घूमते थे, ऐसा हमने मोर देन 10,000 मैंने मेरे डिवीजन में व्हीकल वो डिटेन किए थे सर। ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने और ऑनरेबल हाई कोर्ट ने भी बोला है सर कि मास्क का इम्प्लीमेंटेशन बिल्कुल अवश्य है सर। तो मेरे डिवीजन में मैंने सर ये मास्क प्रिवेंशन और मास्क वेयरिंग के लिए ड्राइव रखी थी सर, और मोर देन 20,000 केस किए हैं सर मैंने मास्क के मेरे डिवीजन में। इसलिए हम लोग काफी हद ये प्रिवेंट कर पाए हैं सर। मेरे डिस्ट्रिक्ट की बात करूं तो सर अभी तक मेरे डिस्ट्रिक्ट में मोर देन 3,000 पॉजिटिव केस हुए सर। उसमें से 2879 रिकवर हुए, 71 ही डेथ हुए हैं। अगर पुलिस की बात करते हैं सर, हमारा जो यूनिट है कच्छ पुलिस है सर, उसमें 111 टोटल पॉजिटिव केस हुए थे। हमारे प्रिकॉशन के कारण सर हम लोग 89 ही रिकवर हुए और एक ही डेथ हो पाया सर। तो हमने काफी प्रिवेंशन किया है सर। कच्छ डिस्ट्रिक्ट इंडस्ट्रियल एरिया है, मुंद्रा SEZ मेरे एरिया है सर। तो ये लॉकडाउन में सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज लेबर माइग्रेशन का था। आपने देखा होगा सर कि मुंबई दिल्ली में भी लेबर माइग्रेशन के दौरान बहुत ही अनटोवर्ड इंसिडेंट बने थे सर। हम लोगों ने यहाँ पर पहले से, यहाँ मुंद्रा जो SEZ है सर, जो इंडिया का सबसे बड़ा SEZ माना जाता है सर, अभी मोर देन 50,000 लेबर यहाँ पर माइग्रेशन के लिए रेडी थे। कोई अनटोवर्ड इंसिडेंट न बने इसलिए पहले से हम लोगों ने जो भी लेबर जो भी कंपनी में काम करते थे उनके मैनेजमेंट से मीटिंग की थी। लेबर जो भी यूनियन लीडर थे उनसे मीटिंग की थी। लेबर जो कॉलोनी में रहते थे सर, वहां पर जाकर उनसे ब्रीफिंग किया था सर हमने। और 1 by 1 जैसे बस में माइग्रेशन हो सके तो बस में हमने उनको शिफ्ट किया था। जैसे सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की ओर से रेलवे की फैसिलिटी प्रोवाइड की थी सर, तो डिस्ट्रिक्ट वाइज डिस्ट्रिक्ट, जैसे बिहार में है, यूपी में है, झारखंड में, जैसे ही ट्रेन होती थी हमने सिस्टमेटिक रजिस्ट्रेशन करवाया था। और मोर देन 15,000 लेबर को यहाँ पर हमने माइग्रेट किया था। ये दौरान एक भी अनटोवर्ड इंसिडेंट मेरे एरिया में नहीं बना था सर। वैसे मुंबई से भी यहाँ काफी कच्छ के लोग मुंबई में रहते हैं सर, तो मुंबई में आपको पता है सर कि कंडीशन खराब थी, तो मुंबई से जो लोग यहाँ पर आना चाहते थे सर, उनके लिए भी हमने यहाँ पर मोर देन 7,000 पैसेंजर मुंबई से ट्रेन में आए थे सर। यहाँ आते ही यहाँ पर कोई इश्यू ना हो जाए इसलिए उनके लिए यहाँ पर कोविड सेंटर बनाए थे। 7,000 जो भी पैसेंजर यहाँ पर आए तो यहाँ पर उनके लिए 5 सेंटर होम बनाए थे सर। वहां पर जाए और 15 दिन यहाँ पर रहे और बाद में अपने नेटिव प्लेस में जाए, उस प्रकार का अरेंजमेंट किया था सर हम लोगों ने। हमने पूरा इंप्लीमेंट किया है सर। लॉकडाउन का अवेयरनेस डेफिनेटली रिक्वायर्ड थी, इसलिए गवर्नमेंट की ओर से जब भी फ्री राशन का स्कीम चलता हो, गवर्नमेंट की ओर से बैंक में पैसे का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हो सर, तो जो डाउन टू अर्थ जो लोग आते हैं पैसे लेने के लिए या राशन लेने के लिए, तो उसी दौरान भी लॉकडाउन का वायोलेशन ना हो इसलिए हमने प्रॉपर वहां पर जाकर ब्रीफिंग किया था लोगों से। जो गरीब लोग हैं, लॉकडाउन में व्हीकल चलते नहीं थे, पब्लिक व्हीकल चलते नहीं थे सर, इसलिए हमने गवर्नमेंट व्हीकल भी लाकर उनको प्रोवाइड किया था कि कोई इश्यू ना हो जाए सर। ये दौरान पुलिस की ड्यूटी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रहती है सर। पुलिस ने कोरोना वॉरियर की तरह काम किया है सर। तो पुलिस भी ये इसमें दिक्कत ना हो, पुलिस भी इन्फेक्टेड ना हो, इसलिए बार बार सभी थाने में जाकर पुलिस सबऑर्डिनेट है पुलिस ऑफिसर के साथ भी प्रॉपर ब्रीफिंग किया है। उसके दौरान क्या करना है, क्या नहीं करना है, क्या प्रिकॉशन रखना है, डे टू डे उनको ब्रीफिंग किया था सर। जो मेजर स्टेक होल्डर है हमारे, जो सो कॉल्ड सुपर स्प्रेडर माना जाता है सर, कि सब्जी वाले हैं, राशन वाले हैं, वो सुपर स्प्रेडर है सर। वो सुपर स्प्रेडर की वजह से कोविड-19 ज्यादा न फैले, इसलिए जो भी वेजिटेबल मर्चेंट है, स्टेक होल्डर है सर, राशन की दुकान वाले हैं, उनके एरिया में जाकर सर सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग मेंटेन करके पूरे उनको ब्रीफ किया है सर। इसलिए हमारे कच्छ डिस्ट्रिक्ट में बार बार हमने कोविड-19 का टेस्ट किया है, लेकिन वेजिटेबल मर्चेंट और राशन जो बेचते हैं सर, वो पॉजिटिव नहीं पाए गए हैं सर, क्योंकि प्रॉपर उनको ब्रीफिंग किया था सर। हम लोगों ने बार बार उनको ब्रीफिंग करके, उनके साथ मीटिंग करके हमने ब्रीफिंग किया है सर। जैसे भी लॉकडाउन था सर, यहाँ के लेबर यहाँ पर माइग्रेशन के लिए तैयार थे। कोई ट्रक में चला जाता था, कोई दूसरे व्हीकल में चला जाता था, उनको स्टॉप करके, क्योंकि दूसरे स्टेट में भी जा नहीं सकते थे, तो उनको चेक पोस्ट के दौरान, चेकिंग के दौरान वो लेबर को स्टॉप करके उनको ब्रीफ करके हर एक थाने में एक शेल्टर होम रखा था हमने बनाकर। वहां पर उनको जितना भी दिन यहाँ पर रहना चाहते थे उतना दिन रखा है। गवर्नमेंट की अन्य एजेंसी का हेल्प लेकर हमने उनको भी वहाँ शेल्टर होम में रखकर उनके बीवी बच्चों के साथ सभी लोगों को प्रोवाइड किया है। बार बार हमने विजिट किया है। शेल्टर होम में भी कोविड-19 का संक्रमण न हो, इसलिए वहां पर सैनिटाइजेशन किया है सर, और पूरा डिटेल में उनका केयर लिया है सर। बाद में जब भी पुलिस स्टेशन में या कोई पुलिस वाला अगर कोई पॉजिटिव पाया जाता है, तो उनके फैमिली मेंबर्स है उनमें पॉजिटिव ना पाए, इसलिए उनके एरिया में हमने सैनिटाइज किया है सर। बार बार उनका ब्रीफिंग करके दूसरा कोई इश्यू ना हो और दूसरा कोई पॉजिटिव ना मिले सर, इसलिए हमने वो प्रिवेंशन रखा है सर। ये दौरान गवर्नमेंट की अन्य एजेंसी जो भी है उनके साथ बार बार मीटिंग करके प्रिवेंट किया है सर। और सबसे बड़ा जो लेबर इश्यू था सर, कि एक बार 15,000 लेबर गए हैं, तो उसको वापस करने में भी हमने जहाँ मुंबई से या दूसरे स्टेट से यहाँ पर जो लेबर आ रहे हैं सर, उनको अहमदाबाद ट्रेन से आते हैं, तो यहाँ से कंपनी मैनेजमेंट को बोलकर यहाँ से बस से उनको वापस यहाँ पर एस्टैब्लिश किया है सर। लॉकडाउन के दौरान किसी भी लेबर को अगर पैसा नहीं मिला है, वेजेस नहीं मिला है सर, तो कंपनी मैनेजमेंट से मीटिंग करके उनको विदाउट वर्क किए बिना उनको पेमेंट दिलवाया है सर। और उसके बाद भी जब भी यहाँ पर लॉकडाउन के दौरान सब लोग घर में रहते थे सर, तो हमने पुलिस बैंड, जो हमारा पश्चिम कच्छ पुलिस बैंड है, वो एरिया में जाकर उनको एंटरटेनमेंट करके उनको मोटिवेट करने के लिए हमने पुलिस हर एक एरिया में जाकर पुलिस बैंड का भी यूज किया है। जो लेबर जो काम नहीं करते थे, उनके पास राशन नहीं था, पानी नहीं था, तो एनजीओ की मदद को लेकर सर हमने उनको राशन पानी भी दिया है। फूड वहां पर फूड पैकेट भी डिलीवर किए सर। और ट्रेन में भी यहाँ पर जाते थे, तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की ओर से जो भी नोटिफिकेशन था, गाइडलाइन थी, तो सभी को वहां पर अपने एरिया में ना पहुंचे तब तक का राशन भी दिया है और फूड पैकेट भी दिया है। इस प्रकार से जो सबसे बड़ा डिस्ट्रिक्ट है उनमें भी ये कोविड-19 ज्यादा ना हो, इसलिए जितने भी प्रिवेंटिव मेजर्स सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट की ओर से जितनी भी गाइडलाइन दिया है सर, उतना पूरा इम्प्लीमेंटेशन किया है और जितना 100% फॉलोअप लेने की कोशिश की है सर।
चलिए, बहुत बढ़िया आपने काम करा है। आपने कोई टेक्नोलॉजीज भी यूज करी है इसमें?
जी सर,
कोई टेक्नोलॉजी भी यूज करी थी आपने?
सर इसके लिए जो लेबर का जो टेक्नोलॉजी के लेबर का जो, क्योंकि स्कैटर लेबर रहते, इसके पहले इतनी मूवमेंट एक साथ लेबर की नहीं हुई थी सर। सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज हमारे लिए लेबर मूवमेंट था सर, क्योंकि एक साथ हर एक स्टेट में देखा होगा सर, एक साथ लेबर की मूवमेंट होती थी। इसलिए हमने इमीडिएट, जैसे दूसरे स्टेट में जो इंसिडेंट दिल्ली और मुंबई में बने इंसिडेंट सर, इसीलिए इमीडिएटली हर एक कंपनी में हमारे लेबर कमिश्नर की ऑफिस रहती है, कलेक्टर ऑफिस में रहती है सर, और SEZ में जो ऑफिस रहती है वहां से लेबर का लिस्ट ले लिया सर, टेक्नोलॉजी के उपयोग से जो लिस्ट है फटाफट लिस्ट ले लिया, कंपनी का कांटेक्ट करके वो कहां पर रहते हैं, कौन सी कॉलोनी में रहते हैं, क्योंकि यहाँ पर लेबर रजिस्ट्रेशन कंपलसरी है सर SEZ में। इमीडिएट अलग अलग डिफरेंट टीम बनाकर जितने भी लेबर कॉलोनी में जाकर सर वो लिस्ट, जो टेक्नोलॉजी की ओर से जो लिस्ट मिलता है सर, वो लिस्ट लेकर तुरंत हमने वो लिस्ट का रजिस्ट्रेशन कर दिया, जो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की ओर से जो परफॉर्म आता है सर, जो लेबर मूवमेंट किसको करनी है वो परफॉर्म में से फटाफट हमने वो डेटा डाला सर, और लिस्ट बनाकर सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की जो कंसर्न रिसीविंग स्टेट है उनको एडवांस में अप्रूवल के लिए भेज देते थे सर। तो इसलिए जो लेबर मूवमेंट है बहुत ही इजी हुआ था सर हमारा, हम लोगों का सर।
चलिए, वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड, बहुत बढ़िया करा है आपने। अच्छा, let us go to the next one. Mrs. Rithu Sarangan from Tamil Nadu Police. Please there?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Can you hear me, sir?
Ah.
Thank you, sir. I'm here on behalf of my SB, Arvind sir, and the Tiruvallur District Police. I once again like to thank Scotch Organization for shortlisting us for the semi-finals. I don't want to go into the details of what digital governance is. I think Pramod sir already explained it quite well to us. But what I would say is that by improving digital governance in our country, we should not focus more on the digitization and lose out on the essence of the governance.
Yes.
Because in some places it seems to go that way. So, and the digitization also should not take place in literally every wing of the government. It should be focused and seen for potential, and should be used where there is a widening gap between the government and the people. So I don't want to go in depth into the digital governance part. So as a police officer, I would like to talk about my perspective on digital governance for about a minute or two. Police is a different wing when compared to the other wings of the government. We are a pretty visible wing of the government. So we rely solely on the people, in fact, rely on human interaction. So when they see a police vehicle on the road, the people feel much safer. So when people come to the police station, they feel much satisfied when they talk to the policeman. So we can't convert all these into technology, but we can convert the means into technology. We can't reduce the number of police stations. We can't replace police stations by technology. So that is my opinion. And in the police department, policing, I would categorize it as in 4 broad groups. The first one is proactive policing. So in proactive policing, it's nothing but just deterrence of crime and prediction of crime. Since our district police is also working on mapping of crimes and preventing crimes, but that is not the area of focus here. So I'll move on to the next category. Digital engagement of policing. So in this, what we have to make more of a digital presence, since in the pre-digital era, the problems that people faced were more on the streets, in public places, on roads, and so on. But now, along with that, we face problems on cyberspace. So the police need to make their presence more on the cyberspace now. And the third category of policing is workforce optimization. This is where our project comes into use. IRIS was the project we were shortlisted for. It stands for Instant Response to Improve Social Distancing. So COVID pushed us to come up with this device. COVID was a very difficult time, not just for us, but for the entire world. Well, the police department is always known to have a perennial problem of lack of manpower. So what happened was we were running short of manpower, and we had to enforce social distancing, which was the government norm. And enforcing social distancing in one place could be possible, but in all public spaces became a bit of a problem for us. So we had to come up with a solution immediately because the spread of COVID was quite high in our district since it borders the Chennai city. So we came up with this device. The structure of this device is pretty simple. It has a camera, a speaker, and a laser beam pointer. So the camera is programmed in such a way that we can program it to whatever distance. It's programmed in such a way that when two people come very close together, we've given it 2.5 to 3 feet. So when two people come close together, it sends out a voice command in Tamil, which is the local language, and it asks the people to move away. So the people were able to understand and respond accordingly. And the laser pointer was installed a little later, not in initial stages. It points to the person who's committing the violation. So in that case, the person will be more aware and more conscious, and he'll move away. So this gave us a lot of results. This device did not just help us with COVID. This taught us two main things. The first was active crowd control. It controlled the crowd on real time, then and there. And the second part was the data collection and analysis of the pattern that we saw. This showed us how important data collection and analysis was important for policing. So workforce optimization came into picture here. So we could not deploy manpower everywhere. So when we saw that we have a separate control room for COVID here, so when we get an alert that there is a particular violation of a large gathering in some place, violation of social distancing, so we send out manpower only then. So we came up with a smart manpower management system with this device. So, and the other category of policing, I would say, is digital investigation. This category has tremendous scope for improvement, and this we have also another app we use in the district called the Face Tagger. This has a database of all the criminals, and the suspected persons can the picture of the suspects can be run through this app, and we can find out if they have any criminal antecedents. So that again, that's not the focus here. So this device Iris was mainly focused on COVID, and it's also based on artificial intelligence. And we are looking forward to developing this device not just for COVID but for also other purposes, other crowd controlling systems, and so on. So with this, I would like to conclude, and I look forward to the rest of the discussion and would like to hear.
No, that is excellent. I fully agree. Policing cannot be replaced by machine. I fully agree. However, there are a lot of other initiatives which police has taken, like CCTNS, and then there is a crime criminal system. There are
Yes, sir.
things which are also happening, which also requires to go over to the next phase of data analytics and much more support as far as your investigation is concerned, tracing of the criminals, passing on the information to the adjoining districts and adjoining states. I think those are the things which need to happen in the due course. I think we can discuss some of those things.
Definitely, sir.
Anyhow,
Yes,
good. I'm good. Let me go to the next. Mr.
Thank you, sir.
Palaraju, Mr. Palaraju, are you there? He was there.
Was there a little while ago, but I guess may have not been present right now.
Okay,
so we can move on.
Then we
can move on.
Mr. Sabodh Shukla.
जी बताइए.
चलिए, your inputs on what all has been said today, your observations.
Okay. Thank you for this invite and opportunity. And I have been listening to all the presentations in this session, and I noticed that some of the presentations were on how good or how best the police had managed the COVID situation to avoid infections amongst the public and to avoid spread of infections even amongst their own policemen. Mr. Panchal's presentation and the presentation by Mr. Mr. Pramod was about the boilers and factories and how it is automating the inspection process. That was interesting. I personally feel that there's a tremendous scope of application of technology as far as the policing goes, because one of the major issues in policing in India has been lack of transparency, and transparency can be enhanced substantially by using technology. Of course, now since we are on the subject of maybe COVID and use of digital technology in managing COVID, and I was there for the presentation which Ms. Ritu has mentioned about the IRIS, and this seems to be a good intervention in terms of controlling the crowding of people, so that people don't come together. Too many people do not come together, and if they come together, then there is an alarm and there's something to tell them that there's something wrong, and it seems that it has produced good results. The presentation from the Directorate of the UP presentation in which Ms. Kajal had presented. She had discussed about this implementation of e-office. So I was wondering what kind of e-office have they implemented? Is it not the e-office, the cloud-based e-office? Is it something which is local, or is it something which is which talks to other departments also?
So this e-office in ours, we have set up our own server, and we are now planning to take it on the cloud-based services later on, because it was not a very big office. So right now, currently, we are having it on our own servers. And plus, when we are going to integrate, it's going to be on the cloud services.
Use the NIC solution?
Yes, it's not NIC basically it is developing for the secretariat, but ours is not done by the NIC. We have developed it on our own through a private vendor.
Okay. So, I mean, what kind of implementation have you done? Is it all files within the office?
Yes, it is basically everything that any paper that comes to us, that whether through email or through the paper stuff, we scan it and then it flows through the electronic management system.
Okay, and how much of implementation has been done?
It's fully implemented now. My office is running, people can work from home and there's not a problem. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So this is what, I mean, my observations are that COVID and this time has given us an impetus to move towards digital technologies. Some observers say that it has been an opportunity as well for implementation of digital technologies in offices and amongst, in education sector, in so many other sectors, and which could not have been done if this situation was not encountered. So
there are a lot of positive spin-offs from COVID which have happened.
Yeah.
From all the
there are positives. But as the Prime Minister says that हर आपदा में वो अपॉर्चुनिटी ढूंढते हैं, तो
जी।
इसमें भी एक कुछ अपॉर्चुनिटी जो लोगों को मिल गई है।
Good, good, good.
थैंक यू।
Thank you. Bansal Saab? Mr. Bansal?
I can hear you, sir.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
very much for your kind invite to me. I heard all the interventions from various people. I know that the technology is not the solution, but it's an enabler to the solution. What we are discussing here is the digital governance, how the digitization has helped us, or the technology has helped in reducing the crime or tracking the crime, particularly in police, or when we talk about that local bodies, that how the implementation has helped them in the efficiency and the productivity, and particularly in the industry department, as Mr. Pramod has told, in the violence of the Kerala and all, how exactly that online inspections have happened and how exactly they could bring in the efficiency and reduce the cases of the fatalities. So what I'm saying, whether it's CCTNS, where 55,000 of the police stations across the country are interconnected to understand that what sort of crimes are happening throughout the country, or whether it's e-challan, or whether it's the CCTVs under the command of a particular centralized command where all the things are being seen and where that these crimes are reduced. So in my opinion, that digitization and the technology has really helped in many ways. You just imagine, had there not been the digitization or the technology at this level, what would have happened during the COVID time? Still that people which can speak to work from home, it is on account of only this digital governance which has been implemented. Number 2 point would be that the security part, which in the morning we had discussed, how the security and secrecy of the data has to be maintained, because everything is going to be on the digital, it's a digital locker, on the cloud, everything is open to everybody. So that's the another issues that even the police department, that the industry department, the local bodies, or anybody who are the users of that digital platforms need to see it. But overall, we are very excited to see that everybody from every corner, they've been using the technology and digitizing it, and hence the productivity level and the solving of the problems are getting sorted out day by day. That's all from my side, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Gupta, Mr. R.K. Gupta, your comments?
Mr. Gupta is not present today.
Oh, he's not present. Okay, okay. Then I'll open the session for questions, answers. Any other questions?
My question would be to the DSP Thiruvallur. Although she described about the projects, but I would like to understand more how exactly the technology has helped you, because you people have taken a lot of initiative. In case briefly you can touch upon 2-3 things that, okay, this was the technology used in reducing the crime or keeping an eye on the crime scenes or something like that. In case you have got something to add up, please.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Are you asking me whether we have more technology apart from the device IRIS?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, sir. So we have started mapping our crime cases, sir. The crime cases, traffic accident cases, and the CCTV cameras available. So for instance, if you take the town of Thiruvallur, we have a map of all the crime cases, all the traffic accident cases, and all the CCTV cameras that are installed by the government and the private people. So when we merge all these 3 maps, we will be able to at least prevent the occurrence of a crime. In case we have a large public gathering or a bandobast scheduled for a particular day, so we will be able to reduce the amount of crime by further surveillance, by increasing the beats and patrol systems in that particular area. Or we can this is prevention. The second part is detection. So by knowing where all we have CCTV cameras, we are developing a separate app for the CCTV cameras in the entire district. So Tiruvallur district has almost 2,000 CCTVs installed. So we are developing an app for that. So this app will tell us how many cameras are installed in each police station limit. So we have 29 police stations.
So that there is a good convergence of the digital governance. That's a good thing. That's what I wanted to know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, see, another thing which, as a part of digital governance, which has to come up is the citizen interface and the requirements of the citizen from police, which are fairly high in nature. There are a lot of clearances which are needed from police. For example, I don't know in a smaller place, but in a place like Delhi, even if a person employs a maid or a servant or a part-time servant, they're supposed to be informing to the police and get a police clearance on that particular thing. There's not a clearance as such, but police has to be informed, the photograph has to be given, the address has to be given, and there is a check which has background check which is also done. So then in case anybody loses something, there has been an inconvenience of lodging a complaint, because this is not an FIR, but it's a complaint of something being lost, because this is not a cognizable offense. So that's another facility to the citizens which can be offered through the web services itself. A lot of state departments have started giving that. Even the cognizable offenses are getting recorded through the internet also now. Of course, the final signatures have to be given on a piece of paper because that is required by the Act. So those are the things which have to be done. So there is a lot of requirements to interact with the citizens which have to be made available. And I think technology can play a very, very important role. Many of these things were already envisaged in CCTNS. I'm not too sure what is the status of implementation of CCTNS. Then there were some advanced features which were also visualized at that time. They were conceptualized and they were to be implemented as a part of police modernization. So I think technology has immense scope in helping the policing as a back-end systems. So I think we have to look into what all we'll be doing over the next few years and bring about some of these things. Even in investigation, when you are out in the field, you can capture all the evidence, both on the camera, with the geotagging, with the time, all those things can be done. And now all these things have been facilitated by the law, that these type of electronic evidences can be produced in the court. So it will really shorten the whole cycle as such. And then there was another suggestion, another project which has been taken up, which is the integrated crime justice system. That means the integration of the police with the courts to the prisons, so that there is a unique identity of a criminal or accused to the criminal, and then whatever the conviction is there, and when he goes to the prison, even after he comes out, you can monitor in case there is a crime of that type, whether he is again a suspect or not a suspect. So it's a complete life cycle which can be monitored through the technology. So these are the things. I know it is not the direct policing, but it enables policing to give a much better service to the citizens. Any
May I say
views?
something, sir?
Any other observations from amongst the panelists? Yes, Bhuj, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Panchal.
सर ने बोला सर कि हम फील्ड में कुछ भी काम करेंगे, लेकिन टेक्नोलॉजी का यूज नहीं करेंगे तो हम बेटर परफॉर्मेंस नहीं दे पाएंगे सर। अगर कोई 4 रास्ता पर कोई एक पुलिस वाला खड़ा रहता है सर तो प्रिवेंट नहीं कर सकता है। हमने ये लॉकडाउन के दौरान सर गवर्नमेंट की ओर से सीसीटीवी सर्वेलेंस है सर, नेत्रम करके, भूज सिटी जो सबसे अफेक्टेड सिटी है सर, यहाँ पर जो कैपिटल जो हेड ऑफ द डिस्ट्रिक्ट है सर, वहां पर 36 सीसीटीवी कैमरा सर्वेलेंस का ले रखा था सर। वो 36 कैमरा से सर हम वायोलेशन के जितने भी केस है सर वो क्लिक होते थे कैमरा में सर, तो हमारे एविडेंस भी मिलता है सर, और उनके अगेंस्ट में वायोलेशन जो नोटिफिकेशन वायोलेशन के केस होते सर, वो टेक्नोलॉजी का यूज किया था। 36 सीसीटीवी कैमरा सर्वेलेंस है सर। दूसरा हमने ड्रोन कैमरे का यूज किया था सर। पूरे भूज सिटी में हम घूम नहीं सकते सर, हमारी स्ट्रेंथ इतनी अच्छी नहीं है सर, तो हम मेजर जो 4 रास्ता रहता है 4 वहां पर ड्रोन उड़ा के सर 1-2 किलोमीटर की पेरीफेरी में जो भी वायोलेशन करता है, छोटी छोटी गलियों में जो कोई क्रिकेट खेलता है सर, कोई इकट्ठा होकर बैठा है, कोई मास्क पे नहीं पहना है, तो ड्रोन सर्वेलेंस का यूज करके सर हमने मैक्सिमम जो वायोलेशन के जो केस है सर वो हमने ड्रोन सर्वेलेंस के से किया था सर। और उसकी इंपैक्ट भी इतनी अच्छी पड़ती है सर कि पब्लिक को पता रहता है कि कहीं से भी ड्रोन सर्वेलेंस होगा तो कोई लॉकडाउन का 100% इंप्लीमेंट किया हो सकता था सर। फिर हमने व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप बनाया था सर, जो नीडी पीपल थे सर, लॉकडाउन में सीनियर सिटीजन ऐसे थे जो अच्छे घर में रहते थे सर, लेकिन वो वहां बाहर मूवमेंट नहीं कर पाते थे, तो फूड के लिए किसी को पास वाले को भी बोल नहीं सकते सर, क्योंकि पास वाले को कैसे बोलेंगे कि हमें खाना चाहिए। तो हमने जो व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप गुजरात ये पश्चिम कोच पुलिस का व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप निकाला था सर। वो व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पर कोई भी सीनियर सिटीजन दवाई की डिमांड करता है, सिर्फ उसका एड्रेस एसएमएस कर देता था सर और मैसेज करता था। हमने पुलिस वैन से उनके वहां मेडिसिन चाहिए तो मेडिसिन, फूड चाहिए तो फूड पैकेट चाहिए तो फूड पैकेट भी प्रोवाइड किया है सर। हमने डिस्ट्रिक्ट में हमने फेसबुक और ट्विटर का भी यूज किया था सर। जो भी कोई भी बंदा फेसबुक ट्विटर पर कोई भी रिक्वेस्ट देता था सर, हमने बिसाइड ऑफ पुलिसिंग हमने जो ह्यूमैनिटी है सर वो भी इस कोविड-19 के टाइम पर काफी हमने लोगों की सेवा की है सर। आसाम का कोई स्टूडेंट यहाँ पर रहने आए हैं सर, वो किसी को पहचानता नहीं है सर, यहाँ पर पढ़ता है, वो एक मैसेज फेसबुक पर करता है सर, उनके वहां हम जाकर उसको फूड देते हैं, फूड पैकेट देते हैं और उनको यहाँ से आसाम जाने के अरेंजमेंट करते हैं। वो गुजरात पुलिस का जो एक कोविड-19 के टाइम पर जो टेक्नोलॉजी का यूज किया है सर, तो बहुत ही बड़ा योगदान दिया है सर, और लोगों ने प्रेज भी किया है सर। लोगों ने एनजीओ को लॉकडाउन के बाद एनजीओ ने सामने से आकर गुजरात पुलिस के जो भी अच्छा काम किया है सर उनको अप्रिसिएशन दिया है सर, उनको सम्मान आया सर। तो अब सही हो सर कि टेक्नोलॉजी का यूज नहीं करते हैं तो इतना परफॉर्मेंस नहीं दे पाते सर, तो टेक्नोलॉजी मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट है सर।
अच्छा, आपसे ये सुन के बहुत अच्छा लगा, वेरी गुड।
यस सर, थैंक यू सर।
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is time for winding up this panel, and at the designated time, you will have the next online voting, which will come up.